So inductor stores energy in the form of magnetic field when electric current flowing through it. That means that if you already we have seen the right hand thumb rule or Ampere's law. When we pass the current through a conductor, what happens? That will produce a magnetic field. So the inductor works on the principle of this principle. So uh, when you pass the current in the inductor, so the inductor that inductor will stores the energy in the magnetic field. So this is called an inductor. So in the image you can see there are so many inductor types are represented. So air core inductor, iron core inductor is there, ferrite core inductor is there, and variable core inductor is there. These are all the various types of inductors. So based on the circuits and based on the applications, we can use either one accordingly. And see inductors in PCB. So in a PCB board, how the inductor look like? You can see copper wire wrapped around a ring, copper wire wrapped around a cylinder, and casing to seal field. So like that, so many types of inductors are there. So that and all, it is available in the PCB board. So and the inductor property. So inductor actually hates changes in current. That means that if there is an DC, it allows DC, but it won't allows the AC. Because why? The reason is, you just look at the slide in the right side of the slide. You can see XL equal to inductive reactance. So XL is nothing but of inductive reactance. So reactance is nothing but of some opposition. That's a reactance. You can consider it as an opposition or resistance. So XL, which is nothing but of 2 pi FL. The formula is XL equal to 2 pi FL. So if there is a frequency, so the frequency is nothing but of, if you have alternation, there is a positive and negative cycle will be there, that automatically creates a frequency. So if you have a frequency, what happens? For example, if I having 60 hertz frequency and L is nothing but of a Henry, that's a 2 Henry. I am substituting these values in this XL formula. What happens? The XL will give you 753 ohm. That means that if you pass 60 hertz of frequency current, right, to the inductor, what happens? It will produce 753 ohm reactance to the AC signal. So it won't allow, that means that it won't allow the AC signal, that is that will be stopped, right? So this is the inductor property. So that is left side of your PPT, right? That is represented clearly by these some images, right? So but in case of current, in case of DC, it will directly allow the DC to pass through the inductor, because DC does not have any frequency component, so it automatically allows the DC. And the next thing is capacitor. So both the inductor and the capacitors are nothing but of it, both are used for storing the energy. But in the case of inductor, it stores the energy in the case of magnetic field, but in the case of capacitor, it stores the energy in case of electric field. So that's the difference between these two. So that is given here. So basically the capacitor having a two parallel plates, equal parallel plates. In between that, the dielectric material will be there. So once you pass the input, right, that will be, the charges will be accumulated in the both the plates. So that will create some field, that is called electric field. So that will be having some charge, right? That's showing some energy, and that we are telling as a what storing, it stores the energy, right? So these are various types of capacitor, that is ceramic capacitor, electrolytic capacitor, and variable capacitor, trimmer capacitor, like that. So these are all the thing. And one more thing, whenever we study the capacitor, we have some doubt, right? So what is the difference between battery and capacitor? Because we are telling that capacitor stores the energy, and battery also having some energy, right? Stores the energy. So what's the difference between these two? Because these two having some differences. In the case of battery, it is having a more storage and slow charging and discharging. In case of capacitor, it's a less storage and fast charging and discharging. right? In the case of capacitor, the potential energy is stored in the electric field, but in the case of battery, it is a chemical energy. Chemical energy will be converted into a electrical energy. There is a difference between these battery and capacitor, but both are used for storing the energy only, but it has some differences.